Well, hello there. This is Schmoedown 9 Canada, and you're tuning in to our special Improv 101 episode. We're talking about the matches of this week. On today's episode, we got Soda, but we also have first time guest Dagan. How are you today, sir?
Doing well. How about you guys? How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Doing really good, really good. Nice, beautiful Sunday afternoon.
I was going to say the sun is out, so I'm not going to be on podcasting all day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
One day...
Complain about that.
We cannot. One day, John from Movie Lovers Unite and Mount Schmoedown is going to join us. But until then, we are going to start without him. Sorry, bro. We are going to start with the Hannah Parker match. Now, thank you, Soda, for deleting the intro to make sure it doesn't play 40 billion times.
You're welcome.
I swear to God. But yeah, Parker versus Hannah. First off, I know I bit your point of view, Soda, from yesterday's conversation. But Dagan, who'd you had in your pocket?
I mean, I had definitely had Parker winning going into this match. I think Brandon had a good showing and an amazing comeback there against Eric Zipper. But I think Parker. This was definitely a return to form for him here, and I was happy to see that got going on here.
So apparently, it just likes to cycle through the videos.
But anyway, yeah. So I thought Parker played amazingly here. I mean, he definitely moved up in my rankings. I did a ranking sheet earlier today. And I think I had him like number 3 or 4. So I feel like he's a serious threat to win that IG belt. And obviously you got his faction mate there, Mara Kanopik, as the champ right now. So I'd be interested to see kind of how that goes. And if maybe those two play each other down the line, I feel like that could be very, very interesting. So, I thought a really well played performance here by Robert Parker, but I know Brandon Hanna, he had a rough second round, but he also played really well too. I mean, perfect round in the first round there, and for both of these guys. So nothing to scoff at in terms of Brandon Hanna's performance either.
Yeah, the thing I took away from this is that Brandon Hanna obviously is a good player, but it's one of those, the field of competition is so good that some people who you look at and think, oh, they deserve to have more. Unfortunately, you're going to fall by the wayside quite a bit. And that's where I feel Brandon Hanna is. He's a great competitor, but unfortunately, he's just coming up against opponents that are equally, if not better than him.
Yeah, and again, Parker is a freight train. A lot of people, it annoys me. They're like, oh, this is the Parker that we wanted to see, or, finally Parker. No, Parker had one slip up. One fucking slip up. And people are talking about like he was, such a disappointment. Parker is everyone's worst nightmare. When he's on game, he doesn't let up. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I have to say, and this is nothing related to the match, is actually related to the free-for-all. When he gets in his head, though, he really gets in his head. I remember him in free-for-all, he missed a question, and 3 questions down the line, he's still going like, that he has to work on, because if it happens in IG, you cannot. It's like Star Wars. You are in your head and you lose like 2-3 points against a Mara or a Shandru, you're done. Mm-hmm. You're done. So he has to control though his the way he talks himself in his head, because that can definitely go against him.
Yeah, for sure. And like, it's okay maybe to get in your head a little bit if you're in singles, but in IG or Star Wars, the gap is too little that you can't focus on what you just did. You got to focus on what's going on ahead.
Yeah, you see this with like even some of the best players in the league, like a Kalinowski or even Roka, where they get a question wrong and then they're still beating themselves up about it, like even several questions later. So I think with Parker, I would agree that maybe building up that confidence a little more and not worrying about questions that he missed and just like kind of moving forward in the match. And, I think that's a general rule for a lot of players, just to not dwell on something that you missed,
Mm-hmm. And better be late than never. We got John. How's your meal?
It was good, man. It was good.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We were actually talking about the Parker Hannah match.
Okay.
I'm just curious. We talked about it a bit yesterday on Speaking of Schmoedown. If you haven't checked it, go on the JCast Network. It was an awesome interview with Hannah.
Mhm.
But yeah, going into that match, could you reiterate a bit from yesterday's comments of who you had in your pocket?
To be honest with you, I actually had. Let's see here. I actually had. I'm trying to think. What was the name that you were trying to think? I'm trying to think of a name real quick.
Parker, Hannah, someone,
Okay.
a
Sorry.
human.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sorry, brain fart. But no, I actually had Hannah in my pocket, to be honest with you, because of the fact that I felt like he was a strong competitor since we actually had him whenever he was going up against Saul, and then after that, seeing what he can do with this and everything too. It was a very good one-on-one match. I thought, like yesterday, whenever I was mentioning the fact that the first round, I felt like it was like head to head. And then once you get into that second round battle with the multiple choice, that's when everything started to crumble just a little bit.
Mhm.
Everything, especially that Star Wars questions and things like that. But I thought overall it was a good match. It was just the pick of the dice as far as the category goes.
Well, going to what Leo said, it's true. Hannah's very hot and cold. 4-4. He's split in the middle. And I want better for Hannah because he's an entertaining watch. Especially his character now is evolving to something I prefer better than just a straight up heel. I think the only one kid that can really pass for me is Shanju for that kind of role. Hannah is I prefer seeing more the human side and just having a couple quicks, but I think the league is passing him. I really am. He had an incredible comeback last time, but you can't do incredible comebacks every time. You can't guess your way out of it or hope your opponent fails every time. So I don't know what's missing though, because he has the knowledge, he has the manager, like the manager of all managers for people that when you get in your head. But what else is he missing? David, what do you think is missing in Hannah's play?
That's a good question. First off, I want to say, kind of to push back on what Leo was saying there in the chat. I actually would like to see more of Brandon Hanna in IG. I think that he's shown his prowess and that he could continue to focus on that before maybe switching over to singles or teams.
Right.
But in terms of like maybe what works and what doesn't, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, it seems like he has everything in place, and as you were saying, with the manager and with the knowledge base, and also Sabrina Ramirez being his partner, I think that's a good study partner to have right there. And so I don't know if maybe it's other stuff going on in his life. Maybe he's busy with other work related things or whatnot. But I mean, maybe it comes down to studying and maybe just needing to study more and watching more IG movies. But I don't doubt that he's doing that. But maybe just honing in the focus a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Soda, do you think he's attained his maximum? Have we seen his maximum, or is there still something to tap in for Hannah?
I think there's still something to tap in, but really what he just needs is that spark. And I'm just, for fun, I'm looking at Sam Levine's record. He was doing okay when he started, but when he entered into that 2017 free-for-all that he won, he was 3-3. And then he wins the free-for-all, and then he goes on this magic run that put him into the vault of being considered one of the greatest of all times. When it comes to Hannah, I think he just needs that spark. I think he needs his equivalent of the 2017 free-for-all. Once that happens, sky's the limit for him. But it just needs that one perfect moment.
You would think the last match was the perfect moment, the uphill battle of the impossible and winning it. You would think that would crank it up, but it kind of, not to the contrary, but maybe going against Parker was the wrong match plan. Maybe there was a reason why he was ducking him, if that was a true storyline, a true thing, not just a storyline.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried that Parker or no Parker, it would have maybe done the same, because you see he got nervous in the middle and he was trying to get out of his head. But once that starts, right, he doesn't seem to be able to fully shake it off, even with Rocky's speeches, right? So I don't know. I really wish he cranks it up and becomes A level. But the thing with IG is like singles. There's so many competitors, right? That you have a lot of like middle pack players that can stay in the league for a long time and stay middle pack because you kind of need that, right? And IG, it's a lot more concise. So the middle pack at one point, when the new rookies come in, become lower pack if they don't improve. And next thing you know, they're an FCO or they're nowhere to be seen, right? So IG is completely different. So I really hope he steps his game because if not, we're going to see him somewhere else.
I feel the same way that you do, to be honest with you. I feel like that should have been his momentum to just keep on going and everything, because, you know, you had that. To me, that should have been his arc. That should have been his way of actually climbing the wall and everything to where we need him to be. But, you know, don't forget, some of those questions are now totally different from when Sam was around and everything too. And, you know, even that one question when it was a trick question with the Star Wars question. It's like, who did Leia feed? What was the, you know, I'm not going.
Yeah, basically, how did she win over Wicket? Is what the
right.
To the question
so
was.
It's a trick question, right? So, you know, he had to go ahead, go multiple choice and everything, and go based off of that. And because it's a trick question, because there's little small things now that you wouldn't even think about in movies or anything like that we watch. We're thinking, okay, maybe they might actually ask who's the character from Back to the Future, or what did Marty McFly hand over to Doc Brown, for example. But now it's like little small things, little small Easter eggs now that they're throwing out at everybody.
But here's a double-edged sword with IG. It's like a couple hundred movies, right? So because of a couple hundred movies, and it's not the full extent of every movie that we ever released, it's your job as an IG player to look at all the nitty-gritty little details of like,
that's true.
Of like what is the number on the door, almost type of questions, because you know exactly what you can study for, and it's a lot more preparable. So
yeah, but that's Star Wars one. Like, there were two possibilities. Like, I understand why there's also the argument for the hat, because they both happen pretty much at the same time.
Right.
So
no, it's true. No, it is true. Like, again, Star Wars is a very fickle thing, right? It's for the Star Wars competitors like Gold Leader or Nace, or this would be like easy ball questions. But for us mortal men, it's like, I've seen this movie a billion times. I don't know, you know. So
right,
it is the beauty. But let's go on to Parker here. Parker again is focused. I love the whole him hanging his coat near the sink, going back and putting back on when he wins. I like where his character is going. Do you guys anticipate a repeat of last year? Momentum, awesome. He's gonna win. He's the best ever, and then is it gonna happen again?
Well, anything's possible. I personally hope not, because I want to see the dungeon win.
But, over or under 50% chance? Over or under, let's say 70% chance it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna go under.
I would also say under. I think that this year is going to be different. I think he's going to, instead of hitting that threshold and then crashing and burning, I think he's just going to hit that threshold and he's going to keep going upwards. I see a really good season for Robert Parker. Even potentially getting to the point where he's playing for that IG title, I would say.
John?
I'm going to have to go with under as well, for the same reasons that Soda said as well, too. Because here's the thing. I mean, anybody can lose on any given day or whatever, but it's about keeping that momentum alive and keeping that strong points that you have in your head and the strategy that you have in your head that you built up. To me, Parker came in there, zoned in to the match. He knew what he was after. He knew what he was going after. And I know that he ended up, going down a roller coaster ride last season and everything. But it seems like this time it's different. This time he's on a revenge tour. This time he's fired up. He wants that belt. He wants that inner geekdom. He wants whatever he can grab at him and everything. He's not going to stop at anything. I just see him just steadily going into it no matter what. And if he loses, I don't think he's going to lose momentum. That just gives him more energy, more stuff to actually boost his confidence up to go even further on his revenge tour.
Yeah, and I hope if like to answer my own question, it definitely under 70. I say even under 10%. It's gonna be very unlikely he's not going for belt contention. To be honest, as much as I love Shandru and I love all the other players, it's not going to happen. He is going to be maybe not the champion because Mara is a whole different beast because she comes from singles, right? And now the way IG is set up. There's a lot more wiggle room for people who has general movie knowledge and not just specific comic book or so it does play in our characteristics. But one thing that a lot of people are underestimating Parker is, Parker's hey Biggie. Parker is not just an IG player in the sense that when he played into multiplex, most of the categories that's on the IG Schmoedown was already present in multiplex. Mm-hmm. So he already has practice and leaps and bounds experience over a lot of the competitors. For him, it's just like back to normal, right? So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, for Hannah, what is his next match? I'm starting to think maybe Swift, and that might not be fair for Swift.
Yeah, Swift would be a good match.
Something up here. Yeah, I'm just like gonna look at the list of the IG players, but I think a rookie might be a good next match for Hannah. It definitely seems like that would be maybe something to rebuild that momentum and not necessarily get that big win that you guys were kind of mentioning earlier. That maybe a spark is kind of what he needs, and you would think that comeback win against Zipper would have been that spark, as you were kind of mentioning earlier. But yeah, I think putting Brandon Hanna against like a Jesse Swift or like even like Greg Alba or somebody, might be a good next move for him. I'm not as familiar with a lot of these rookie players. Or Jen Kemp is another one I was thinking too. Yeah.
I personally would actually prefer Alba because Alba needs a redemption story too. He's as much as everyone loves the Real Rejects, if they're not doing good this year, they're technically the oldest team in the whole Schmoedown. Mm-hmm. They're not going to stay the oldest team in the whole Schmoedown if they don't perform because as much as they're fun, if the Wildberries can get split up, the Real Rejects can get split up or not even just show up anymore. So I really hope something gives, right? So putting those both redemption stories and a bit of like they're under pressure to win a bit for their faction, especially Quirky Mercs, right? Mm-hmm. They need something to happen. The -1s are really killing them. So, but so that would be an interesting match. All right, hey Rob, how are you? I'm sure when you say gentleman, you do not mean me because you're never nice to me.
There's no gentleman here. Yeah, and there we go. And Frenchie.
I knew it. I fucking called it, Snark.
Snark. Yeah.
Winnipeg ain't got no chance of winning the cup, by the way. All right. And if you said Canadians either, I know it already, and I at least have accepted it before, Rob. All right, so let's go on.
There's more chance that the Arizona Coyotes win the cup than the Winnipeg Jets. Sorry, Rob.
Hey, man, it's not what you do leading up to it. It's what you do when you get there, so anything's possible.
But it's the Jets. Yes, my friend. They can hurt. They can hurt. At least I'm not wearing a Winnipeg Jets jersey while saying those words. All right, so let's go on to the next match. We got Lightning Time, yeah, baby, versus Outsiders. Okay. A lot of people are talking the super teams, but they never mention the possibility of this team being a super team. I think I made the comment, like, what if they are? They are something to look at. I mean, not only do they have the movie knowledge, they have chemistry that not many have in this league. Yeah. They've known each other for years. The communication level they had during the match, the way they dissect and eliminate possibilities and add in possibilities, it's something that you would see in the Patriots. It's something you would see after multiple matches together, and it's their first match. Will they win this year, or does it hand out maybe to Rushmore? But are they maybe the best new team?
It's definitely neck and neck between Rushmore, but I would give them the edge due to the fact that they do have 20 years of friendship and chemistry to go along with this. Whereas Rushmore, yes, they're both veterans of the game. They've been there for many, many, many years, but they were also enemies, and they're while they can work together as we saw, that's still not like lightning time at all.
Go ahead.
For me, I'm gonna have to say this. I have to agree with Soda on that, though. You have 20 years of, well, not 20 years, but you know what I'm saying. You have a lot of chemistry between the players.
No, that's what they said. That's what Liz said in the show. They've been friends for 20 years.
Okay. So yeah, you have 20 years of friendship. Plus, you also have Roka and all them too on the mount though too. So you know you have that chemistry going on, and it seems to be building pretty well for them. But at the same time, though, like Soda also said, they were once enemies as well before actually going into it and teaming up. But you know, this is a new team. This is a new, fresh team and everything too coming in. And this reminds me of the Patriots in so many ways because of the fact that, you know, the Patriots, everybody just saw them as like a laughing stock, especially with JTE and everything.
At the very beginning, yeah.
Right. And they were actually considered the underdogs at one time. And then all of a sudden they just start going on a roll, just murdering other teams and everything. And then all of a sudden, then they started being taken serious to the point, okay, who can actually bring them down? Who can actually bring down the Patriots? I can see probably the Lightning getting some momentum after this one, but it's a lot to say right now to see where they're going to be at later on, because right now it's only one win.
Yeah.
So basically,
but it's funny, with only that one win, there's matches that has a certain gravitas to them. If I can steal a bit of John Roca, there's a bit of a gravitas to the whole thing that there's something special. There's a couple matches you can feel something is special. And this is one of them that, like, the same thing I had with Harper. Something special about that guy, just the way that he, you know, was writing down his answers, then saying it, the way you can see he would play the game and reflect on himself. There's a couple times that you can see that even though you only have a taster, it is an appetizer to a whole wide range of whoop ass that's going to come very soon, right? And then there's other teams that you can see maybe, or players, you can see maybe 4 or 5 matches, and you're still not sure how you evaluate them, right? Because there's a lot of ups and downs. This is not one of them. Now, let's go for the outsiders. That's one team, though, that going back to what I just said, I will need a couple of matches to really determine if they work or not, because they were good, but I kind of felt resistance in the chemistry. It wasn't meshing as well. I feel like Paul Preston was trying to be the positive one, but Ben Goddard, when he's in his head, he is his own worst enemy. He's not. He would almost need a Roxy makeover, but at the same time, I like where they're at, but it's not fully fleshed, and I wonder how long it's going to take before it becomes fully fleshed.
Would you say Paul Preston is the unluckiest competitor right now?
Oh, and I feel because I want him to win a belt so fucking bad. He deserves it so much.
Yeah,
he carries Schmoedown with a flag down the road in his boxers. Okay, he gives hope for all the people that want to play Schmoedown. But after a while, is it unluck, or you have to see if you're part of the equation and problem too, right? The unluck can follow you, but is there something you're doing to create that unluck? What do you guys think about the Paul Preston and Ben Goddard matchup?
I can start with this one. I think that, you know, the getting more matches under their belt, I think, will be key to that team success. And you were asking if Paul Preston is like the unluckiest player right now. I mean, he might be. Just looking at his last couple seasons, he's obviously a much better player than his record shows. And I think, you know, putting him with Goddard made a lot of sense. Especially you have Goddard with the think we have a video playing there. Again, yeah, so I think we having Goddard there with the IG knowledge to balance out the more singles and teams-based knowledge of Paul Preston is, that they had the right idea there. But, I think Goddard, as you said, he kind of gets in his head a lot. And the issue here is like Goddard being named the team captain for the Den. I think that those are pretty big shoes. He had a lot to live up to there.
Okay,
And
I have a blank here.
0-3 this season.
I have a blank. They actually
0-2.
name captains.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay, so Goddard is the captain. Who's the captain of the other teams then? Because I missed that out.
I think Roca for the Exchange. I would say it's probably Ethan Irwin for the Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Bibbs for the Corky Mercs. I'm not sure for the Stars. I'm just like looking at the different Corruption.
It has.
I don't know. Kalinowski probably for Corruption.
Oh yeah. That one's a given.
Paulo Yama for Swag.
Probably for Swag. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they put out a list. I don't think they put out a list, to be honest, of who the
No, they didn't.
are.
There's
they
only
just
been
come
a
up
few
randomly.
that have confirmed 100% who their captains are. So.
Where did they announce it? Like just on SEN or
no? They just in conversation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've seen things dropped here and there in comments.
Okay,
so SEN backstage.
Yeah.
Let's see what it shows.
All right, but yeah, Ben Goddard. Does he fit Paul Preston? That's the thing. Like, where did they? Because usually the best teams are the most contrary, right?
Mm-hmm.
They fill in the gaps, and sometimes you can mesh in the same points, and you can double up on your points like that. But usually it's the what am I missing? Please fill in, right? So is he filling in for Paul Preston or vice versa correctly enough to make a dent, or did you see these guys seeing gaps into the mesh?
Well, again, it's really hard because it's only been the one match, right?
But we know Paul Preston's forces in the singles match. The same thing for Ben Goddard, right? So if we look at them itself, not just on this match, but on their singles run, do you guys think this is a good match?
I can see it possibly working because you know how you said that Ben always second guesses himself. So maybe this is a way for his partner to go on ahead and say, hey, look, don't second guess yourself. You already know the answer. Go with your first answer, not your second answer. And let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good way to actually equal out Ben second guessing himself. And then if his partner's also having trouble as well, second guessing himself, Ben might actually know a question to that answer and say, hey, look, I'm going to help you out with this one just like you helped me out with the other one. Let's go with this answer instead. So I think that it's a good way to boost the momentum for the both of them to actually have them on that same team to where, okay, if there's cracks and holes in it, maybe both of them can actually help out each other in that aspect.
I'd agree with that.
All right. But you see, and there's times that you would think that certain teams would complement and help, and it just crashed and burned, right? I can't get an example in my head right now. There's still a couple.
Tough Beats is one that it just seems like to me it just didn't work.
But for me,
But
for me, Tough Beats were never in contention. They were a fun thing to see, but you put Ben Goddard and Paul Preston, you expect fireworks, you expect something amazing, and he didn't play bad, right? He just went up against Rushmore, and it's a good name for them because they really brought a mountain on them, but you still expect a certain fireworks. I still think that there's a lot. Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah, D13.
Yeah. I'm pressing the comments.
Well, sometimes you weren't paying attention, so I'd bring them up, okay?
I still pay attention. I'm going to click them eventually. My finger rules. All right. Oh, yes, that also.
That's one right there where that fits that criteria, yeah.
So are they the next D13 or Critic Clean? Because keep in mind, D13 as well had such an amazing match, right? The points they have, but he still didn't last, right? It's not like, you had a good match, so close, we'll give you a couple of years. No, it's like in today's day and age of Schmoedown with the draft and the potential breakups, a team can only maybe sometimes have one or two shots to really prove themselves. And if you don't make it, that's a whole different team after, right? So
Right.
I really hope it clicks back because there are some sparks of brilliancy, but there's also you can see dismay in it a bit that if it doesn't work in the second match, we might not see them team up ever again, which is sucky because it's two people I would love to see more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't there another teams tournament that's going to be happening later in the season?
Yeah,
So
there's the ultimate Schmoedown.
Yeah, so there's a chance for them to potentially get back in the swing of things there.
Yeah.
But here's the issue. Let's say they have another match, right? Before the tournament, they have another match and they lose again. Do you put them in the second tournament, or are you at a point that you need points that you're kind of going for Hail Mary and you do another team up instead and put them in the tournament? It's all going to go depending if they win or how they lose. Let's say if they lose by 1 point overtime, then yeah. But if they lose and it's not even close,
the TKO,
yeah, there's a lot of balancing. On my scale, I find there's still hope. There's a lot of hope, but it's not the performance I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go on to the third and last match. Rushmore versus Press Room. I realize I said before Rushmore instead of Lightning Time. I meant Lightning Time. I'm tired. It's been a long week and I have no more weed. So let me go, people. All right. So Rushmore and Press Room. Now this was interesting. This is what I'm talking about in the sense that Press Room, I don't have high standards. I love Perry. But I don't expect her to do much every time, and she surprises me every time.
Mm-hmm.
You would think I would learn my lesson by now, that anything is possible. But because she were paired up with Horowitz, I was like, cool. There must be something. Even though they lost, I was actually rooting for them more than Rushmore. Something so lovable about them as a team, and yes, Perry dropped the ball a bit, but Horowitz, I think, definitely complements a bit more. You can see that meshing a bit more than compared to Lightning Time.
Yeah.
It's an interesting pairing, and I definitely hope we won't like it's not the last of them we're gonna see. What did you think, Dagan, about it?
Yeah, I think that they really need to do more because I didn't really see this team gel very well.
Oh, okay.
Having to use two JTEs to figure out that it was Chris Pine as the first Spider-Man in the Into the Spider-Verse movie. And Perry not doing as well in the first round there might have played into it a little bit in terms of like confidence, but like really confidence I feel like is a huge thing that this team needs to figure out because like they knew that it was Chris Pine and they had to keep going back and forth to get that answer. And so I feel like they need to work on their confidence a bit more too. But
But that question could be a little tricky though. Like, because how was it worded? Was it worded as the first Spider-Man we hear or the first Spider-Man we meet? Because it could be either or, right?
Yeah, and I completely
agree. That
appears exactly. So and there's multiple Spider-Mans. There's like the one that dies. You got Martha.
Yeah, and it's just like, are you including voiceover in that? Like that's the thing. That's probably why they had to repeat because it's like it's a tricky question.
Exactly. That's where I completely disagree with it. Again, I completely agree with Soda because it's the whole. I wouldn't even think about the voiceover, and he did. Horowitz did. It's not like just okay, which is the first one to meet. It's like, wait, do they include voiceovers? And for me, that brings like a rookie rarely thinks about those things, right? Those little details. It's like he understands what the question writer is trying to trap them in, and that feels like someone who's been playing for a little while. And I really think that it's actually quite the contrary effect that had on me. That conversation for me between Perry and Horowitz on, okay, is it voiceover? Is it this? Is it that? Showed me they had natural chemistry. That there's not going to be like, say what you want. I don't know. I'll trust you. They didn't do that much. They still had a conversation before. Horowitz leaded the team because what Perry did in the past is not flukes, but it's not necessarily what represents the knowledge skill she has. She has good like on the moment luck and timing. She just happens, to beat really big names. But I think Horowitz is exactly what she needed. Much better than, not to be mean, witching power. I love Fauch, but I don't think they would have went nowhere. I think there's more of a chance that something might happen good with Horowitz than with Fauch.
I was actually really impressed with Horowitz because a lot of times new players come in and they don't necessarily got the grasp of the game. But he played it like he's been playing for a couple of years now. Like he got it. And so he got it that fast. I'm excited to see how well he excels because he knows his stuff from everything I've heard.
And like Andrew or AKASG from Let's Get Ready Network LGR, apparently Paul Waterhauser better bring his A game against Horowitz. I completely agree. I kind of forgot Hauser was still in this because there was no promos. It's like got drafted because he's a celebrity. But he might have a lot of knowledge, or you never know. It might be another Kevin Smith. But if I was him, I would be worried right now.
Yep.
For what I saw with Horowitz, I'd be very worried.
Yeah,
I would agree with everything you guys were just saying about Josh Horowitz. I think, again, him and Perry, I think studying a little bit more and kind of starting to gel as a team. And again, similar to the Outsiders, getting some more matches under their belt, I think would be key to the success of both of those teams. But yeah, at this point, I mean, I might have to favor Horowitz over Paul Walter Hauser. I mean, I know he's an actor and everything, and I'm sure he has a pretty good knowledge base when it comes to movies. But I mean, the way that Horowitz played in this team's match, I could see him pulling off the victory over Paul.
Same here.
Same.
And let's talk about now the flip side, Rushmore. Like I said on SOS yesterday, really, Roca? Rushmore? That's the name, you big ego bastard. I love you, but that's an ego move.
Such a heel move. Such a heel move.
Are you surprised by the outlaw? Come on, man.
But that's the thing. After a while, like JT, yes, not even then. Roca's not a heel to me anymore. He is a hero, but he's like the Punisher of heroes. He's gonna shoot you in the face, rip out your spine, but the people he does it fucking deserves it. But he's still a hero, but with big ass guns and a machete. So John Roca is not a heel, but I'm gonna say something that he might.
Yeah,
he's an anti-hero, but he's not a villain. That's for sure. I might say something that he might Twitter me after and call me a fool, and I probably am.
Okay, so I'm just getting the timestamp so I can cut this out and send it to him. Go ahead.
All right, sounds good. It's 38, 16, 17 now, 18 now. I must just say, I'm waiting for them to implode.
Oh.
I'm waiting for them to implode. For me, a super team is not necessarily two big names. It's what the knowledge brings and what chemistry you have. I'm afraid this is a Dan Murrow Roca 2.0. You got big names, you got really good things together, but it's like the New York Rangers of the 2000s. You had
he's not wrong.
I'm just saying he's like the Rangers of the 2000s. They had the biggest budget. They had names upon names.
And let's throw the Leafs in there as well around
the same time. Exactly. They had so much names, but they couldn't find a way to get to the cup because they were missing depth. Because you have any other team, you were to take their fourth line, they'd be almost their first or second line in any other team, right? So there is no depth, so less chemistry. I'm having a feeling it might happen. They had an amazing game. They're an amazing team for what we see so far. But they were rivals in the past for a reason. They have respect now, but so did Dan Murrow and John Roca. And we're talking about Dan Murrow. JTE, as much as I love you, bro, you're no Dan Murrow. So is it possible it could actually work? Maybe. Is there a bigger possibility it's going to explode? Probably.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if it explodes, but it's hard to say what you just said.
Hey, they are first in the fucking conference, bro. I'm just saying.
No, I was gonna say like
playoffs. Yeah.
The Founding Fathers won a tag belt, man. So I mean, they did pretty damn good.
Pretty damn good. Yeah, they did, but that's the thing.
They just ran its course because honestly, I could have seen them keep going into this year. To be honest, I think it just ran its course. They had no reason to implode, to be honest.
But that's the thing. It still did in a way.
That's the storyline, though. I don't think that's got anything to do with it.
And I'm not talking about the storyline. I'm talking about the fact that you have a John Roca, Dan Murrow combination. You're expecting the next Patriots, right? You're expecting multiple belt defenses and so on to have such a caliber of team. Because not taking away from any players in that team, either Rushmore or Founding Fathers, but you're putting two people in the Mount Rushmore of Schmoedown to completely decimate, right? And that's not what happened.
That's the thing, though. I don't think we're ever gonna see another run like the Patriots.
I completely disagree. I think we will. The thing is, JTE and Snyder were not a super team when they started.
No, they weren't. But there's more parity now.
But what they had now, before, is chemistry and knowing exactly what the other person's thinking and how to play to each other's strengths.
I'm going to bring this one up, Lou. They didn't have the odd couple who have the most team wins all time. They didn't have Shazam, and they didn't have corruption to deal with. If you look at the landscape of teams then as opposed to now, it's like when they introduced a salary cap into the NHL. The Rangers of the 2000s, the Leafs of the 2000s, the Red Wings, the Avalanches, they couldn't bring in the big players anymore because they couldn't afford it. It created parity. Now we're actually seeing that now where we're getting more players that are on the level of a JT and Roca back then, on the level of a Schneider back then. It's more parity, so it makes it harder for you to string 7 wins in a row. Even Dan Murrell couldn't do that on his own.
But he was close.
He was close.
But that's what I'm saying. Dan Murrow was close.
Alex Gaiman is another one.
Yeah,
but
Alex Gaiman.
Star Wars is a whole different beast. So Star Wars is it's a freak of its own nature.
In general, in terms of like somebody being able to defend like 6 or 7 times, like you're just not. There's a very little chance that you're going to ever see something like that again.
Yeah,
like what the Patriots are able to do.
But this is what I'm saying.
I can see Shazam doing it maybe because Shazam. Look at their record, But
True.
like, still.
Shazam maybe. But what do you have to say about that, John?
To be honest with you and everything, here's the thing. I'm looking at chemistry when I'm looking at these teams and what they have together and everything. And I believe that I know the GTE and also Roca also has some beef before and stuff like that within that thing. The only way that I could see them beefing again and it exploding again is if they get another loss. If they wind up getting a loss and it just is a repetitive loss, then you have that feud burning again where it's now Roca trying to take down JTE or JTE taking down Roca. Right now, there's no conflict within the house right now. Mm-hmm. But once we end up seeing that pattern of losing streaks, I guarantee you we're going to see some type of conflict going on with them again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where we have that feud.
Roca's very hot and cold, right? There's times that he's amazing. There's times he has really bad luck, and I hope it doesn't bring it into the teams. Again, I really hope they make it through. And this is just my first impression. But again, if Dan had like 5, what is his record for title defense? 5, I think.
It's something ridiculous. Hold on. Yeah, I'm on the website right now. Just give me a second. Damn world. All right. Let's see records. Thank God they put records on this thing. Oh, they don't have it, but it's something up there. It's like 5 defenses or something like that.
So you think?
Are you talking singles? Yeah.
Yeah. So you would think a guy who has 5 title defense would have been able to do a long run, a bit like Patriots with John Roca of all people, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like this,
Again, it comes down to the quality of players because I was just looking at that. Luckily, we have access to all like the match histories and stuff like that. And if you look at the teams that the Patriots beat in the beginning, mega powers, McCougan, Finstock, like come on,
yeah.
Heroes, John Schnepp and Robert Meyer Burnett, not the strongest team. Top 10 who they beat for the title. Yeah, I'd argue they were in their league. Team Trek, yeah, jury's still out.
No, do not.
Wolves of Steel, yes, in their league.
Yeah.
Modoc, I wouldn't say in their league.
Yeah.
And then the Above the Line series. So I mean,
actually. But okay, so let's go. I'm just curious your thoughts on Finstock Exchange as it is right now. If I'm not mistaken, they are second, right?
Yes.
Well, first of all, haha to all you fuckers who laughed at me for saying they're going to do amazing, because this is exactly what I thought they were going to do, and this is exactly what Finstock had in mind. In mind, he will be first, but the dungeons are killing it.
Mm.
But JTE having his win against Goddard and now his team's win is putting more and more points into Finstock Exchange, which is funny because last year we were all screaming, saying like, "Why is Roxy drafting JTE? He might not even play." To now being one of the most essential parts of Finstock. Do you guys think that JTE might be able to bring in more wins, or the Finstock Exchange just advancing more and stay second, or something will implode?
Oh, JTE will keep playing like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would agree. JT is on fire right now. He's on a total tear.
Yeah.
We've talked about revenge tours this season with a lot of these rivalries, with it being the season of war, right? And I think that JTE, he wants a belt. He wants to win a belt back. He wants to prove that he is still one of the greatest players in the Schmoedown. And I think that and Roka and Barbarian and a lot of these rookies, that just have stacked Gucci's roster. I think that the Finstock Exchange is the biggest threat to the dungeon in terms of the faction title at the end of the season. As it stands right now, I mean, you look at the standings, the Finstock Exchange, is still in second place, but they have the most wins. They're 8-2, as opposed to the dungeon, who are 7-4, but a few of those are title matches. Dan Murrow and Mark Knopic both won titles, so that's more points, obviously. But yeah, I think there is less of a chance for the Finstock Exchange to implode this season like they did last season, with less egos on the table. I mean, sure, you got Roka and JTE. Those are two pretty big egos, but I think just overall, there's a lot less likely of a chance that they implode this season like they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, after seeing now the rookies, I actually think that as much as I love Rushmore, again, I still wonder how they complement, because there's a lot of same forces, right? The same decades, same type of movies, except maybe for westerns and like Artie and Sly. I actually would have preferred, now seeing the results of the rookies, having a GTE Newman pair up or a Roka Newman pair up, and reserve the other one for another rookie. Kind of split up your veterans, right?
See, JTE Newman will be fun because that'll definitely bring up shades of the Patriots, because Newman reminds me of Snyder back in the day.
That's true.
I'd agree with that.
So I'm just surprised that Newman's not with one of the veterans. He's playing like a veteran. Look at Free for All. Look what he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not talked about enough of what he did, but he definitely had an amazing run. And I'm sorry, that style he has fits the Finstock Exchange like a glove. Like
completely.
He is a part of. He's
Dagnito's bastard nephew.
Most definitely. All right, boys, and thank you everyone for watching. This is pretty much the end of Schmoedown in Canada Sunday edition. Now, Dagan, thank you again for joining us as special guest. I can't wait to have you on. Speaking of Schmoedown, because I have a feeling that you'll be able to argue a lot with Jay-Way tonight.
Fun.
All right, so that being said, where can people find you, my friend?
Well, absolutely. I totally appreciate you having me on the show here, and can't wait to be on again and do Speaking of and everything. You can find me on Twitter at DaganSB, DAGANSB, and it's a lot of just random stuff, mostly Schmoedown related or wrestling related stuff there. But you can also catch my show with Corey Cameron on Stereo. Fridays, when there's no pay-per-view, will go on right after the Friday match. Immediately following, talking about the week in Schmoedown. When there is a pay-per-view, usually we go Saturday afternoons, either before Speaking of or after, later on in the afternoon. So definitely keep an eye out for us there, stereo.com/DaganSB. And I also do a wrestling podcast there every Thursdays, recapping AEW and talking about some other stuff going on with, WWE and Impact Wrestling and everything else in that world, also on stereo.com/DaganSB.
All right, and Soda, my friend.
You can find me on Soda on Instagram and Twitter at Soda_the_Saxman. You can find me all over the place on the Media Sweaties Network, doing several shows over there every week. You can also find me over here every week on Schmoedown 9 in Canada, talking with all the lovely people on here.
All right, and John.
All right, everybody, you guys can follow me at Movie Lovers Unite on YouTube. As a matter of fact, we're doing our review of the new Michael B. Jordan film and everything tonight. So we're going to be doing that at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. So go on ahead and join us over there at Movie Lovers Unite YouTube channel. You guys can also get an audio-only podcast where you guys get your podcast at. Of course, you guys can go on in and follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit over there. And, of course, on Stereo at Movie Lovers Unit on Stereo. And then, of course, if you guys want to get in touch with me, just go to go on ahead and follow me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, and underneath the same thing on Instagram, and also too on Pinterest.
All right, and you can find me on this channel, but also, my friend, we can find you on Mount Schmoedown on Schmoedown North. That being said, if you're watching this and you're not subscribing, what you're doing, just press that like button, press the subscribe, hell, even notifications. And you can also find me scratching my head, asking myself, what am I doing here? Speaking of Schmoedown, arguing with Jay Wade. I love the guy, but this is not a typical sport, Jay Wade. Stop comparing it to football or baseball. This is not football or baseball. Yeah. Sorry, I have to calm down. So you can find me on Speaking of Schmoedown every Saturdays from 3 to 4:30 Eastern Time. All right, boys. So thank you very much for giving your time to me. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.